Good afternoon, and thanks so much for joining us at the Cloud County Community College International Student Orientation. My name is Jennifer Frankel, and today we're going to talk about the health insurance in the U.S., how your insurance plan works, what you can expect, how to seek treatment, and how you can get help. So before we get started, the first thing I want to do is just let you know that throughout my presentation, you're welcome to answer and ask questions that you have about the plan, any details that I go over. So all you need to do is go to the top right. If you click that, there's going to be a question box that will appear. So from there, you can just type in your questions, and I'll be sure to answer them at the very end. The second thing you'll notice is that there's a showcase. The showcase has some important resources that you should check out that details your insurance plan information, how to submit claims, how to find a provider, and things like that. So be sure to take a look at that so that way you get familiar with the plan. So with that being said, we'll dive right in and talk more about health insurance. And so you have an excellent plan. It's called the Student Secure Budget Level Plan, and that is designed specifically for international students. We here at International Student Insurance work with students from around the world, thousands of students every day. And they are always having their own specific needs, which is why we've tailored the benefits exactly the way that they are to meet all the different needs that you have. We've been around since 1998. Our main location is in Florida, but we have other locations as well. We have satellite offices in Mexico, Hong Kong, and even Germany. So we have an international presence no matter where your travels take you. Your insurance plan will cover you outside your home country internationally. That means that you have coverage in all 50 states. So no matter where you go, your insurance plan will go as well. So with that in mind, you might be noticing, since you're already here, that there's a lot of differences with the U.S. healthcare system as compared to your home country. When it comes to healthcare in the U.S., you'll notice that it can be very, very expensive. In fact, take a look here. You'll see that we have a graph of the various costs that you might see if you had one of these types of treatments. And it's actually one of the most expensive places in the world for healthcare. Because of that, it's important that you have an insurance plan in place. In the United States, we don't have a nationalized healthcare system. There's either two options. One, you pay for it out of pocket, or two, you have a private health insurance plan in place that is designed to help cover your expenses. So with that in mind, let's take a look at your benefits and have a snapshot of what exactly is covered. Your insurance plan has been designed to cover you if you get sick or injured during your stay here in the U.S. It'll cover you for hospitalization, doctor visits, prescription medication, medical evacuation, repatriation of remains, and many other benefits. Let's take a look. We've got mental health. So mental health is covered whether you're going to the doctor or to a counselor, or even if you need to be admitted to the hospital. While your plan does not cover dental, we have included important dental benefits in your policy in case something were to arise. So your plan does cover you if you were to have an accident to your tooth, up to $250 per tooth with a maximum of $500. And it also covers you if you have a toothache and you seek treatment within 24 hours. An additional benefit on your plan is maternity. Maternity is covered as long as you're not pregnant when your plan starts, and it's covered 80% if you're in network, up to $5,000. Now, if you had a condition before your plan starts, that's what we call a pre-existing condition. And if you have a pre-existing condition, it's important to note that your plan does have a waiting period of a year. So if you do need to get treatment for a condition that you've already had before your plan started, then you will need to pay for those expenses out of pocket. But if you have the plan and you hurt yourself or you get sick, then in that case, it would be covered. I know there's a lot of athletes out there that are watching this presentation, and if that's you, then it's important to know that your plan does cover you for sports. Your plan covers $3,000 per injury for organized sports at your school, and if you need chiropractic care or physical therapy, that's included as well. In addition, there are two important benefits that every international plan should have and that your plan has as well. The first is medical evacuation. Evacuation is in the event that you're in a location where you can't get treatment in that area and you need to be transported elsewhere. So the plan will actually cover you to go to that facility to get the medical attention you need. The second benefit is repatriation of remains. If you're not familiar with what that means, essentially what that is in case of death, the body is transported back to your home country. So that is an overview of your benefits. Now let's take a look how that works in practice and what you need to pay. So here you can see that there are some out-of-pocket expenses that you should be aware of before you seek treatment. The first is the deductible. The deductible is paid once per condition, and it's the amount that you pay first out of pocket before the insurance kicks in. So the plan has a list of doctors and hospitals, and if you stay inside that network, then you pay $45. If you decide to go to a provider outside the network, then it's $90. Please keep in mind that if you do go to the hospital, there is an additional $350 ER deductible. Again, that only applies if you go to the hospital. It is waived at all other facilities such as walk-in clinics or doctor offices. Once you've met that deductible, then the plan will cover you 80% of the next $25,000, and then after that 100% up to $250,000. So let's take an example. If, let's say, you have to go to a doctor that's part of our network, then in that case, let's say they charge you $200. If you were to go for that visit, then you would need to pay $45, and then the remaining amount would be covered 80%, so you would pay 20%. Now that you know what the plan covers and what you're expected to pay out of pocket, then the next important thing is to know about the exclusions. Every insurance plan has different conditions that aren't covered. And so here are some of the common questions we get when it comes to exclusions. First of all, pre-existing conditions. As we mentioned, pre-existing conditions are covered after a year. But during the first 1 year, any sort of medical treatment you need, any prescriptions that you need would be paid for out of pocket. Another common exclusion is preventative care. This plan is designed to cover you for accidents and illnesses that happen while you're insured on the policy. So routine care is not covered. That means immunizations, vaccinations, birth control, physicals are all things that you would need to cover or pay for out of pocket. As I mentioned, dental is not covered, but we do have those two limited dental benefits. One is if you have an accident to your tooth or if you have a toothache and seek treatment within 24 hours. Plan doesn't cover vision either. So if you need glasses, contacts, or you need an eye vision exam, that's something that you'd pay for out of pocket. Another common exclusion is for injuries or illnesses that are drug or alcohol related. So if that's the case, you should expect to pay for those bills when you get them. As I mentioned, this plan will cover you internationally outside your home country. It is not designed to cover you back home. So if you are back home, just keep in mind that this plan will cover you outside of your home country, which means, again, if you are in the U.S. as an international student and you go to different states, you would be covered there automatically. Even if you decide to go to another country, this plan will cover you as long as it's not your home country. And finally, this plan will only cover things that are medically necessary. So if you choose that you want an elective procedure, that's fine. You can still do it. Just keep in mind that that's something that you're going to need to pay for out of pocket. So now that we know what common exclusions are, what the plan covers, what it doesn't cover, the next thing we need to look at is how do you actually seek treatments? And when you seek treatment, that means that when you seek treatment, there are 3 different providers that you'll need to be aware of. Again, when it comes to the U.S. healthcare system, it's very different than in other parts of the world. There are 3 main types of providers. The first is hospitalization. When you go to the hospital, usually that is for only life-threatening emergencies, such as injuries or illnesses that are grave. So if you go to the hospital, be prepared to pay that $350 deductible that I mentioned before. And if you have a situation where you need immediate attention, but it's not life-threatening, then there are other options as well. A great place to seek treatment is either at the urgent care center or a walk-in clinic. Those are great places to seek treatment because you can just walk right in, you don't need an appointment, and a lot of times they can do the labs and x-rays right on site. What does that mean for you? Not only are they less expensive, but they're also much faster. So you can usually get in and out and less time traveling, going to the hospital, and maybe being referred to another place to get some of your labs and x-rays done. A third type of provider is the doctor. The doctor, as many of us already are familiar with, is something that you have to call in advance and schedule an appointment with. It's good to go to the doctor if you have something that's not emergency or that does not need immediate attention. They can help you if you have some sort of sickness or injury that needs to be looked into further. A doctor is a great place to start. So with that in mind, the next thing to realize is that there are different kinds of providers that are considered in-network or out-of-network. If you go inside the network, as I mentioned, you'll have less deductible, so it's always better to be inside the network. The other advantage is that those providers have agreed to accept direct payment. So we essentially pay them directly, and you only have to pay that deductible and any co-insurance out of pocket when you go. So let's take a look further at that network. The next thing is the Coventry Network. What is the Coventry Network? If you've already gotten your ID card, you might have seen the logo on your ID card. The Coventry Network is a list of doctors and hospitals and clinics that we work with directly. We already have a relationship with them, and as I mentioned, that process is much easier. Here you can see there is a lot of different options, so you shouldn't have a problem trying to locate a doctor or a hospital. If you want to take a look, you can check out the showcase, and you'll see there's a link to the provider network. The other way you can check it is on our site. We've got the link there, so you can look and see what doctors and hospitals are inside the network. I always suggest make sure that you find your doctor and establish that relationship before you have an illness or injury. It's no fun waiting till the last minute and then having to fuddle around trying to find a doctor or hospital. So make sure to take advantage of that now if you can, establish that relationship so if something does happen, you'll be prepared and you know where to go. If you do run into any bumps along the way, that's okay. You'll notice on your ID card there is a phone number that you can call. That number is 24 hours a day, and they can also help you find a doctor or a hospital. Once you go to the doctor or hospital, then you'll get familiar with the claims process. The claims process will work two ways. One, if you go to one of our provider networks, so one of the doctors or hospitals we have the relationship with, or if you go outside the network. Let's first take if you go inside the network. If you go in the network, what you should expect is to pay your deductible and co-insurance directly when you seek treatment. Make sure that you fill out the claims form. The claims form is available either in the student zone or on our site, and it is required for every single new condition that you have. So if you go to the doctor, come back, fill out that claims form, and you can either email that in or you can submit it electronically on the student zone. The claims process typically takes about 30 business days, and once that's done, then either, in this case, the doctor would be paid back, or if you're out of network, then the way it would work is that we would reimburse you if you paid those expenses out of pocket. When you're dealing with out-of-network providers, if you happen to pay for those bills, just make sure to send us the bills and receipts to us directly, along again with that claims form, so we can go ahead and process that. Now, when you're dealing with the claims, we have a lot of different services that can help you manage and track the claims. The first is we have an email address. You'll see service@hccmis.com, where you can follow up on claims. But the best way to do it is really through Mesa. And you'll, again, find that in our showcase there. And with Mesa, it's an online portal that you can track claims. So you can see what's missing, you can see if you need to submit any other information, or you can see what it's pending. So that's a great way for you to check if you don't want to pick up the phone and call. But if you do want to pick up the phone and call, you have that same number. Again, it's on your ID card that you can find out what the claim status is, make sure that it's in process, and make sure that you submit all the documents that you need in order to get that process. So keep that in mind. Now, when it comes to the claims process and managing your plan, you'll notice that a lot of the resources can be found in the student zone. The student zone is an excellent resource for you to manage your plan. It is allows you to get your documents. So if you lose, let's say, your ID card or you lose your other plan documents, you can go right into the student zone and find those documents without a problem. The other thing you can do is you can update credit card information, you can find your claim forms, and you can even submit it right online. Secondly, you can also get direct assistance with our customer service representatives. So if you have any questions that you're not sure about, send them through Student Zone and we'll be able to help you with that. Now, there's the Student Zone, which is an excellent resource, and if you need more assistance or you can't find the answers to your questions on the Student Zone, you have 24-hour travel assistance with your plan that's available around the world. So you have phone numbers that are toll-free in the US and abroad. You have email address, service@hccmis.com, and you also have live chat. So we're available 24 hours a day, around the clock, and if you have any questions, please make sure that you use that because that support system is there for you. So they can help you with finding a provider, they can help you figure out where your claim is in process, they can help you with a pre-notification, and they can also help you with translation services. So if you don't feel comfortable, for example, having someone speak in English, then you can certainly get an interpreter on the line that will help you without a problem. So with that, that is our overview of your health insurance policy. And we have detailed what's covered on your plan, what's not covered on your plan, how to seek treatment, the claims process. So we went over a lot. So if you have any questions, please send them in. I do see that there's a couple of questions that we have on the policy, so we'll go ahead and address those. And if you have any other questions, please let me know. The first question we have is, does the evacuation coverage include ambulance and helicopters? And the answer to that is yes. The plan with the medical evacuation benefit in particular is all types of transportation. So that's airlift, that's hospital, that's any other type of transportation that you need to get to a medical facility for medical treatment. That is coordinated directly through our assist team. So it's important that before your evacuation, you contact the number on the back of your card. Your doctor can also call that number as well, and they'll help coordinate the actual transportation. And the plan will cover you to the nearest facility equipped to handle treatments. And that looks like all of the questions we have. I know that sometimes when you do these types of presentations, it's a lot of information and then a question pops up later on. So if you do have further questions, you can send it through our Google account, or you can also send it to us by email, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. You'll also notice a good resource on our website is our U.S. healthcare video. That video will detail healthcare in the U.S. and how to use your insurance plan. So please be sure to check that out. In that case, thanks for joining us. Thanks for taking the time, and we hope to see you around soon.